How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi, and welcome to 10 things you need to know before going into the Burning Crusade. I don't really like top 10 videos, I just happen to have 10 things I want to talk about. I swear. I am so excited for TBC Classic, I cannot stop thinking about it, and I hope these Burning Crusade videos I'm putting out are getting you all pumped for it as well. Now, I'm going to try to put these kind of in order, not of importance, but in the order you'll be affected by or see them in TBC. So let's get in it, because the first two things you can start considering right now. Number 1, professions. Professions are massively different in TBC. We get a completely new profession with jewel crafting. You probably already know how that works, but briefly, a lot of new gear from TBC will have gem slots on it. A jewel crafter can cut gems that will give you certain stats, and you can place them in those slots, in addition to being able to make rings, necklaces, and a few other things. A fully fleshed out profession, and one I enjoyed a lot in BC actually. And I should briefly mention meta gems. So meta gems are different than your regular colored gems. They go into a meta only slot, which is exclusive to helms, although not all helms will have meta slots. You also need a certain number of other gems to make your meta gems active, like 2 yellow gems and 1 blue gem in your other slots. Meta gems have really unique effects like plus run speed, plus crit damage, chance to increase cast speed, and a lot of others. We may not see the better meta gems until later though, as not all of those were in at launch. Existing professions are also a lot different though. Engineering is still really useful, there's still grenades, scopes, guns, all that, but also mining hats, and most importantly goggles. These goggles will let you extract motes, which we'll go over motes a bit later, they're a big thing. Some engineering stuff is also even usable in Arena, but that'll depend on how Blizz decides to combine patches. Where it changes drastically is tailoring is also incredibly useful. There's a lot of extremely good craftable caster gear that's bind on pickup. New gear gets added over time, so it's useful pretty much the entire expansion. Blacksmithing is arguably even better for melee. Each weaponsmith weapon spec gets a one-hand and two-handed weapon. Deep Thunder is literally the most OP thing in Arena. Alright, it's not as bad as SLSL locks, but still. Plate tanks can even get a really good chest piece from Armorsmith. Alchemy is still useful as always, but you can get nearly all of its benefits by buying the items or having on an alt, what I usually do. Leatherworking is probably the biggest change. Like tailoring and blacksmithing, it has a shitload of useful gear you can make, although not all of it is bind on pickup. Leatherworking's big balls item in BC is going to be the drums. These are incredible and kind of OP really. In general, people expect leatherworking to be mandatory for a raiding character, and that is possible. I think you need 4 people with drums in a group to keep them up at all times. Now there is a small chance they won't be mandatory though. Drums changed over TBC's lifespan. They couldn't be used in shapeshift forms, they had a different range, cast time was added, and other things. It's one of those things where we'll see how Blizzard does the patches, but it's likely they will be required for top end rating. Shit. Number 2, class and spec balance. Burning Crusade also saw a huge shakeup in class and spec balance. The days of stacking 30 warriors in a raid are over. Thank you, Hunter Jesus. And not just because raid size went down to 25. Nearly every class and spec is viable in raiding, with very few exceptions, like you'll see a lot of hunters, but probably no marks hunters, that kind of thing. What you will see is raids with all 3 shaman specs, all 3 paladin specs, all 3 druid specs, or even raids with 0 rogues and 0 fury warriors. Yeah, really. There's a lot of doom and gloom about rogues and TBC raiding, but I don't think it will be as bad as some people make it out to be. Fury warriors are also not that desirable, but having 1 arms warrior in a raid is very desirable. The main issue I see DPS wars and rogues running into is there's just so many right now, and the demand for them is going to drop down to a more normal level compared to the insane demand for them right now in Classic. On the other hand, arms warriors are excellent in PvP. I mained one in TBC, and rogues are possibly the best class in PvP. But really, the amount of changes to class and spec balance is really staggering and more than the scope of this video. The most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to class balance is that in raids, nearly every spec has a place. And Hunter is top DPS, as it should be. HMR. Number 3, staying on Azeroth. So this is an important one to cover, although it might not apply to a lot of people. Basically, you don't need to immediately jump into Outland at 58. You're probably thinking, why would you not want to go to Hellfire immediately? And there's a few reasons. If Hellfire is still crowded to the point you can't do anything, level 58 is going to get more XP on Azeroth than Outland, especially since you're not likely to get a dungeon group as a quest geared 58. Another consideration is rep and gold. The higher level you are when you roll in Outland, the more quests you can save for 70, the more gold you can get from quests. Although the XP needed to go from 58 to 59 is comparatively low, 60 to 61 is around twice as much, I think. And PvP. On a PvP server, Hellfire can be rough for leveling if it's a while after the X pack launched. That can really dig down your XP per hour, and you're not really likely to run into too many people back in Azeroth. One thing that was common back in the day was at 58 people would immediately go to Hellfire, do enough to get a quest weapon, and then go back to Azeroth and roll through those quests with a new weapon. And I could see that being a common thing in TBC Classic. So, speaking of Hellfire, number 4, Hell on Hellfire. Hellfire Peninsula on launch day will be fucked. I cannot come up with the words. I literally do not have the vocabulary to describe how bad Hellfire will be on launch day. Classic was not great on launch day. Now everyone will be in one zone. I expect Blizzard will turn the respawn timer on mobs down to like 10 seconds and also throw a million layers at the problem, like that'll fix something. It's going to be terrible. So how do you avoid that? Actually, there are a couple of ways. The most common one is going to be dungeons. You can do ramparts and blood furnace the second the dark portal births you into Outland. There are a lot of good reasons to do dungeons for leveling outside of avoiding the normie herd. Rep probably being the biggest one. You can get rep from normal dungeons up to honored. Get a bunch of rep while leveling, then do the quest later for golden rep. You'll be at revered or very close to it. Those early dungeons are also two of the most important reps, being Thrallmar or Honor Hold, and Cenarian Expedition if you move into Slave Penis. Ramparts is really quick and easy, as long as the last boss doesn't bug out. And the rep sounds nice, so just run Ramparts a bunch, right? Well, if you've got a good group, you can start clearing it faster than your instance limit. So then do Blood Furnace? Well, Blood Furnace kinda sucks, and even has a few scripted events, so you're waiting around a bit. It does give more XP than Ramparts though, so the best bet is a combination of Ramparts and Blood Furnace so that you don't hit your instance cap. And then you can move over to Coilfang later. Although, yeah, there's a overall instance limit. Let's do some math. Gross. If you're doing 5 instances an hour, you'll hit the instance limit in 6 hours. That's nothing. Wait, instance limit? Yeah, you're limited to 30 instances in a 24-hour period for some reason. But at that point, you should be ahead of the normie herd enough that you can quest in Zangar or move on to Terrakar without people up in your shit. Okay, that sounds nice, but what if you're like me and don't have friends to do dungeons with? Well, shit. Option 1 is to just endure the normie herd and outlast them. Option 2 is to not play and be a quitter. Option 3 is to be a tryhard and push it to the limit. Alright, fine. We'll talk about the tryhard way. The tryhard way is to not be where the normie herd is. Grind. At least grind 1 level. The reason for that is the quests in Zangar really start at 61. You can try to skip some of the early quests in Hellfire and go west to like Maghar Outpost, Falcon's Watch, or that temple. But even a lot of the quests on the west part of Hellfire can have a 61 level requirement or a prerequisite. And the ones that are there probably won't get you to 61. and there could be people there as well. My plan is to head west and check those quests. If there's no one there, I'll do those, then grind out the rest of the way to 61, then finally move on to Zangar. The early Hellfire quests, I'll just come back and do those later for the rep and the gold. Now, if you have to grind out a full level, it's actually not as bad as it sounds, although it does kind of suck. Try to be smart about it. If you're a skinner, for example, find some beasts to grind. That leather is going to be worth a lot. There are level 60 and 61 Marshfang Rippers and Sporebats all over Zangar you can grind while getting leather. Even better if you're an herbalist. Go to the Deadmire and farm the giants there. They're a little higher level, but they herb into herbs, no shit, but also motes of life. Big money in those, and unidentified plant parts which you can use for CE rep. Or sell them. They'll probably be worth a lot early on when people are trying to get their rep capped. The good thing is, once you're past that normie herd, the leveling is really enjoyable and can be done pretty linearly, although not quite to the degree of Shadowlands where you're specifically forced down a questing path. Number 5. Mounts and Gold. Alright, this one is a little less depressing. Flying mounts come out in BC, and they are mandatory. Yeah, you need to buy one. Don't be that dick that relies on summons to get into the Arcatraz, or say you're waiting for a Glad Drake. Just fucking buy it. But there are a few things to keep in mind. The first flying mount, the shitty 60% speed one, only costs 900 gold total. Every character I leveled in BC had enough gold for that mount, just from doing quests to 70. That one is really not a concern. The fast one, 280% speed, is actually a little expensive. 5,000 gold for the training and 200 gold for the mount. It's also ugly as shit and looks like it belongs in a BDSM game. The Griffin's alright though. If you've got the gold for the epic training right away, this means you can skip buying the 100 gold, 60% speed shitter. Some people are speculating that Blizz might implement a gold cap going into BC, meaning you can't take all your gold from Classic into TBC Classic. I'm not sure they will do that, even if it would be good for the game. But in the extremely unlikely event they do, I can't see the cap being any less than your epic mount costs, and it would probably be much higher, like 10,000. Now, the good news is you'll have a lot of quests left at 70 to help pay for the epic mount, unless you spend it on random shit like gear or hose. Netherstorm and Shadowmoon Valley have a lot of quests, and even if you skip all of Blade's Edge or Nagrand, which you shouldn't, you'd still have leftover quests to do for gold. If you don't have enough gold after the quests, well... Number 6. Farming, Primals, and Modes. Farming gold changes a lot in BC. You can still make a lot of money from all gathering professions, although even those change some. Like I mentioned earlier, herbalism can herb some mobs for really good herbs and motes. In Classic, stuff like boosting or soloing dungeons is one of the most common ways to get gold, but yeah, that changes a lot. So there is actually a damage limit in BC. Stuff like 1 pull Maraudon is most likely out. Only a few things are exempt from that, like Consecration, maybe reflective damage like Thorns and Red Aura. Hunter solos like DM North actually should be even easier than they are in Classic, but you'll still run into instant limit problems there. And there are some new ones that open up. A lot of classes will probably do stuff like solo Schoolmans. Dark runes do not lose their usefulness in BC, and there's no replacement for those. As far as new TBC solo dungeon runs, I've actually never heard of any. There's been some stealth herb or mine runs, and people would do druid rogue groups to stealth through dungeons, but as far as for farming gold, I really haven't seen any, although I do think there are some out there to be discovered. Part of the reason we don't have those is the design philosophy for dungeons in TBC is radically different than it was in vanilla. There are no huge city-sized dungeons like BRD. Almost all are much faster, confined places like SM, where you have a sort of dungeon hub with multiple dungeons all right next to each other. There's a few exceptions like Old Hillsbrad, but I don't know if there's any farm potential there. How do you make them big bucks? Primals and boats. If you have them, you can sell them faster than pussy on Skid Row. And the thing is, they're used for the entire expansion, not just at the start. They come in 7 varieties: air, earth, fire, water, mana, shadow, and life. There's also primal might, but that's something different. And a note, if you didn't know already, most of the time you'll be getting motes, which 10 of those can turn into 1 primal. Primals themselves can drop, but they're not very common. They are used for just so many things. Each one of them is used for around 60, sometimes over 70 recipes. Literally everyone is going to need some of these primals. The competition will be fierce and the price high. You might want to get in early on these if you can. The main place people farm them is Elemental Plateau and Negron because that's the easiest. I've heard a few druids plan on going there to farm out their last few levels since you need flying to get there, and druids get it earlier than anyone else because druids have to play on easy mode to compete. But it's not the only place you can find them. There are elementals scattered throughout Outland, and as I previously mentioned, you can get motes of life from herbalism, miners can get motes of earth from mining nodes, and engineers can extract motes from clouds that float around out in the world. Now, even though all of these are useful, they aren't equally useful. Earth, for example, is likely to be plentiful thanks to mining. Air and fire are usually some of the more expensive ones. These things are so important, I might do a video just on mote farming if there's enough interest for it. Let me know in the comments, man. Number 7. Attunements. Alright, here we go. BC attunements are terrible, right? Doing BC attunements is about as much fun as playing a gnome warlock, right? I mean, we've all seen this scare chart. Looks really shitty. Actually, no, Burning Crusade attunements were not that bad. If you're trying to rush and get everything done in the first week, then yeah, that's gonna suck, but you'll actually complete almost all of these without even thinking about it. Here's why. You're going to be doing quests for gold and gear. You're going to be doing dungeons for gear. That's it. That's pretty much all the attunements require. The only real annoying thing is if you have to go to a dungeon where you don't need any drops or rep. Oh yeah, rep. After you've done all the quests and gotten the gear, it's possible you won't have all your reps done. You want to get reps to Revered for the Heroic Key dungeon. You'll need them for other attunements later. You can't just walk into heroic dungeons in TBC, you need to have the key, which requires Revered rep in the corresponding faction. At that point, it could get a little annoying because you will need to farm a max level, not heroic obviously, dungeon to farm the rep, assuming you've exhausted all the quests. However, that's not even as bad as it sounds. In Tier 4, there are 3 raids: Karzon, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon. Gruul's Lair and Magtheridon don't need any attunements. So Karzon is the only one you need to have done for Tier 4. For Karzon, you need to do Shadow Labyrinth. That's easy. But to get into Shadow Lab, you need to do Sethekk halls for that key. Also easy. Then Steamvaults. Again, very easy. And Architrez. You do need a key for this one, and it's probably the most annoying in this series, but it's also just doing normal dungeons. Finally, you do Black Moor Ass, which, like Shadow Lab, you just have to do the previous dungeon in that dungeon hub, this one being Old Hillsbred. But you can even do that one, and you probably will do that one while leveling up. When you lay it all out like that, it kind of seems like a pain in the dick, but it really isn't. It's more like a tour of the content. And that's what most of these attunements are. They're just trying to steer you around to content. The only one that ever annoyed me in TBC was the attunement for Mount Hyjal. You had to clear Tempest Keep and Serpent Shrine Cavern, looting a vial from Kel'Thas and Vosh respectively, but only a limited number of vials dropped. Yeah, that was stupid and a lot of guilds got bottlenecked there, but this was fixed. I should also mention, this is all assuming Blizz keeps the original attunements in. Most attunements were removed or nerfed over the life of TBC. If we go in with a 2.4.3 style patch, it's going to be really easy to do attunements. Oh yeah, speaking of being really easy. Number 8, Heroics and Raid Difficulty, also badges. When TBC launched, I remember doing those week 2 Heroics. I was very excited about it. Got my honor hold ripped to Revered, and went into Hellfire Ramparts Heroic with some people I'd been running normal dungeons with. We went to Ramparts because that was the first dungeon in TBC, so we assumed it would be the easiest. Died on the first pull. I was tanking and I was taking an absolute shitload damage. It was rough. But yeah, then it really wasn't. There was a lot of damage going out, but it was manageable. We cleared it our first try. There were only a few wipes. And that was the story for pretty much all heroics. Some were more annoying than others, like the demons at the end of Blood Furnace being ridiculous. But all of them were doable in our blues right at launch. They mostly felt like a fair challenge with an occasional really annoying mechanic. I really enjoyed them a lot. But over time they nerfed the shit out of these dungeons and they really weren't much of a challenge after that. Which sadly means the heroic dungeons we get in TBC Classic are not going to be that difficult. Unless they give us the pre-nerf ones, which, come on, it's Blizz, they wouldn't do cool shit like that. The raids are kind of a similar story, kind of. I don't remember Gruul that well, but I think it was easy. And I don't remember having any particular difficulties in Karzhan outside of Melkazar bugging out and people trying to hide in the doorway. It felt pretty fair difficulty-wise. Magtheridon I don't really remember very well either, but there was some weird shit with the cubes. Tier 5? Well, yeah, Tier 5 was fucked at launch, and a lot of it was overtuned, but also just plain broken. Even when I was in a guild clearing TK regularly, Kael'thas would still bug out and just reset pretty often. It was really, really annoying. I remember one lispy guy would complain very loudly about it on Vent. This was even months after he had been fixed and was doable. Kael'thas, not the lispy guy. Vashj was a similar story. She was only killed twice before being changed and was nerfed, I think, multiple times. So what does that mean for raid difficulty in TBC? Well, if they give us pre-nerf but not buggy versions of some of these bosses, it could be amazing, and I would absolutely love to see that. And I think most players would agree with me, but they probably won't do that. Tier 5 will be fairly easy. However, Tier 6 will provide some challenge, it really will. I remember Archimonde especially being difficult at the time. And Sunwell. Yeah, Sunwell will be hard. So honestly, it's not all bad. And you probably know already, but I'll just mention real quick. The raid sizes do change in the Burning Crusade. Instead of 20 and 40 man raids, we now have 10 and 25 man raids. ZA and Karzhan are the only 10 man raids, so all the rest are 25 man raids. And badges. So badges are a currency used to purchase gear in chat. And it's pretty good gear. Even at launch, there's some pretty good badge gear, but more gets added over time. It's kind of a gear catch-up mechanic, kind of, not really. At launch, you wouldn't get very many badges, but by the end of TBC, every heroic dungeon boss, even some mini-bosses, and raid bosses dropped badges, which is likely how it will be in TBC Classic, so you can stack them up pretty quickly. Number 9. PvP. I don't see a lot of people cover PvP in TBC videos for some reason. They really should. PvP is actually really important in TBC. It changes radically compared to vanilla. In the pre-patch, it changes to a currency system. Honor is now just a currency you spend on gear. Your battleground tokens are also a currency used for gear. Most gear requires a lot of honor and some specific battleground tokens. I'm pretty sure this did not reset when TBC launched, so if we get a pre-patch, you might be able to hoard honor. Nice. With this honor, you can get some pretty decent epic pieces. Boots, belt, bracers, necklace, ring, and some others. They do have Resil on them, but depending on your spec, these could be very good, and even better than PvE pieces you might have. Oh right, Resil. Resilience is primarily a PvP stat. Here's what it does. But I think it actually works in PvE as well. It's just not weighted that well for PvE. It was changed to only work against players eventually, but I didn't see that in any BC notes. I think that happened in Wrath. Anyway, the big one though is obviously Arena. It's actually really important, even if you don't like PvP and just went to PvE. There are 3 brackets, 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5. You can only compete if you're in an arena team. You just make them at the queue guy and invite people, they're not a big deal. For most classes, there's some arena gear better than the PvE gear you'll have now, unless you're already full bisp most likely. Even then, a few pieces like some swords for Rogue, I believe, are better than any from PvE, depending on how they release content. And it's not hard to get. Season 1 and Season 2 gear has no rating requirement. So as soon as you get the arena points, you can buy it. Season 3 and Season 4 rating requirements were added 1850 for the weapon and 2000 for the shoulders. Now, if you really don't like PvP, that's fine. Just grab some rando and do 10 games on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you'll get some arena points. You get more arena points the higher your rating. Also, 3v3 gives more points than 2v2. 5v5 gives more points than 3v3. But you can still get your pieces just by losing 10 games a week. You have to do at least 10 games in a week to get points. But I encourage you to try it. Arena can be a lot of fun. Although you're going to see rogues, locks, and druids all over the damn place. Make sure you don't leave an arena team before the weekly reset. That's when you get your points. I've seen a lot of people get kicked on a Monday and not get their points for the week, so be careful who is arena team captain. PvP and TBC is a big topic, and I might do more videos on it specifically. Let me know if there's anything PvP related in TBC that you'd like to see covered. I'm sure Arena won't be available immediately at TBC launch. On live, it started 30 days after launch, so probably about the same with Classic. Number 10, Dailies. Alright, Dailies finally. Yeah, TBC introduced Dailies, but they were not in at TBC launch, so they're the last thing on this list. We actually got quite a few different daily hubs. There's the Netherwing ones in Shadowmoon Valley, Skedis ones in Tarokar, and Ogrila ones in Blade's Edge. Much later, we got the ones in Isle of Quel'Danas, which were amazing. Netherwing ones are known for the Nether Drakes, and of course, Skedis ones give the ugly Netherray mounts. Ogrila does have some decent rewards as well, but they all give one thing: gold. Yeah, doing your dailies for gold was a big thing in TBC. It gives everyone an easy, steady stream of gold coming in every day. Even after being exalted with the daily quest faction, people would still do the easy dailies for gold. Later on, the Isle of Quel'Danas zone was added. It brought Sunwell and a new dungeon, Magister's Terra, sure, but the big thing there was more dailies. The faction there, Shattered Sun Offensive, had a lot of really good rep rewards, including an awesome looking shield I had to have. The dailies there were grouped tightly and really fast to do. Plus, PvP there is dope. Unless you're outnumbered, then it's complete shit. And finally, they added in a daily dungeon and daily heroic dungeon quest. Good gold reward and badges for these, so you'll probably end up doing them most days. Shit! This ended up being a long video. Actually, I put a lot of work into this one, more than any video I've done before, I think. I hope it helps some people out. If you enjoyed it, hit that sub button, bell, like button, share button, all that other shit. And we even have memberships now. You can check them out by clicking the join button right by the sub button. It is absolutely the best way to support the channel, and you'll get some really cool emotes. I've got a lot of WoW content already on the channel and have much more coming, including streaming right here on YouTube, so be sure to stick around. If there's anything specific WoW Classic or TBC Classic content you'd like to see, be sure to let me know in the comments. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.